the chat.
Open your chat, your Zoom chat, and you'll see the straw poll link. Click on that and answer the questions.
Okay,
There are two, actually.
I suppose I need to share my screen because
That is why you're doing it.
me.
That is
Okay.
why you're doing it.
That is what I
Thank
will
you,
do.
Debbie.
Okay, so I'm stopping your screen for 1 minute.
No, it's good. I like to see the faces.
Okay.
Ah, Gil, you've changed since I last saw you.
So.
Okay. Okay, but I don't think results are in.
Hold on, I have to go to the results. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay,
103 people have already voted. Okay, so
103 votes. Wow.
Okay, and only one person gave them down as 2. So the overwhelming majority recognizes it as very important to most important. Fantastic. Good thing. I guess that's why you're here. No surprises. And the second question, if you could be so kind, how much of your lessons, should I have said how many of your lessons? What percentage of your lessons?
We're Americans.
I gave percentages. It's okay.
Badly.
How much time do you devote to speaking activities?
And that's going to be in the chat now. Here it is. And I will go back to sharing my screen here so you can all see the results. I have to go to the next one. Okay, and let's see.
So,
results.
Okay, 5, 4, not everyone.
Only 12 votes so far, everyone.
Okay,
come on, vote.
People are thinking about it. Someone is consistent. Okay. Only 12 people voted.
I'm having trouble logging into it. It's not.
Okay, now it's 84.
Okay.
Okay, it's going up. I just have to refresh.
It keeps putting me back on the first question.
You must be pressing the first link instead of the second.
You don't have to log into the...
No, I'm pressing the second.
There's no login. If you click on the link, you come straight to the question that you need to answer. There's
now
2
there's
links, one for each question.
105.
Okay, so let's look at 103. Let's start looking, if we could. Debbie.
I have to reshare this. I didn't. Okay.
Okay.
That's so hold on. I have to reshare.
Okay.
It didn't follow.
Thank you.
Me.
So thanks a lot. Okay. So we have here a slightly different color. Not huge, but I would say that we have here more than half are giving from 30%, are giving more than 30%. But 30% of you are giving from, oh no, I'm backwards. Amy, read your own chart. So we do have a contradiction here because for how important it is, it got very high ratings from many, but for giving it more than 30%, it didn't get extremely high ratings from people. Okay, and now I want you to put in the chat yourselves, if you can, a few reasons for why is it hard to give a lot of time to teaching speaking? Because you're muted. Type a few ideas we'll talk about in a sec. Why is it difficult to give a lot of time to teaching speaking? And why is it difficult to teach speaking? And why do some kids refuse to speak? Put in some of your problems with speaking here.
It's time consuming. It's not measured in the exams. I'm wasting too much time on unseens. Ministry demands and size of classes.
You said it yourself, wasting time on unseens. Whoever said that, listen to your own words.
Students are embarrassed, lack of self-confidence. They answer back in Hebrew as much as you try, it doesn't work.
Okay.
Right? A lot of people wrote the size of the classes and not enough time.
Okay.
Shy students.
Okay, great. I mean, sad, but good, but interesting.
Reading and writing is more essential.
It is more essential. Okay, well then perhaps you were consistent in your vote. If you gave it low importance and low time, then at least you are consistent. That's more interesting than if you said, It's really important, but I'm not giving a lot of time.
Orally human, it takes a certain personality to agree to make mistakes, and I would add in public.
Yes, right. We talked about it last time, how some research said you need to give them a beer. Sharon, you're here. Who told us that? Someone told us that in Orny many a year ago. After a beer, they are relaxed, and then their affective filter is down.
Especially the junior high school students.
Especially where it's legal. Okay, so if we could go to the next screen slide, Melissa.
I'm on it.
Debbie, go ahead. You got it,
did.
Debbie.
I got it.
Thanks so much, Debbie. Sorry, Melissa. So, right, students report themselves in research shows. First of all, one of the first huge problems, I hope I'm not saying anything too new, but I still want us to really be thinking about it, is insufficient vocabulary. There's a big reason why there's new curriculum in 1, 2, 3 and new e-pilot. They simply don't have enough words. So words are still right up there, one of our huge priorities. Feeling inhibited, a lot of you talked about.
I'm muting everybody, and then I'm going to unmute you.
Okay.
Unmute yourself. I can't find you. Oh, there you are. Amy, unmute yourself.
I think
Yeah, now you're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're unmuted.
Okay, so feeling inhibited, many of you mentioned it's the biggest. I know as a teacher, it's the biggest. Having nothing to say. A lot of you wrote in your Padlet, interesting topics. That's very, very important, because if they have no interest in motivation, good luck, Joe. Using L1 is a real biggie that I want to give a little bit of time to. Gita was just talking about it. It's true. It's an unnatural situation. You have 5 Israelis sitting in a room. Why on earth do they want to speak English to each other? It's really hard for us to create a need. So we're hoping to create something that is either fun and enjoyable enough or interesting enough that they might do it. As far as teachers and schools go, uneven participation. You have that one loud kid who's always going to talk. 3 out of your class of 27 are dominating. It's hard when there's big class size, which many of you mentioned. It's a real constraint. Feeling pressed for time. Who said you can't tell me? So forever hold your peace. Wasting time on unseens. Feeling that I have to get it all done, get something done. Speaking often falls by the wayside, especially in junior high. I don't know if someone said this, Melissa, because it is not tested. It's not tested yet. I think in high school, people would say something different because they're going to take the COBE before we had the oral bagrut. No one is testing their speaking in junior high, and that's probably giving us this implicit belief that it's not as important as knowing how to read. I think many of the kids might say it's more. And tacit beliefs about teaching speaking. So here I want to also talk a little bit about L1. I know you're going to say the very weak kids really need those translations to feel secure. I know you're going to say they don't understand my explanations. That's how I check their, actually, I don't know you're going to say that. Pardon me. That's audacious of me. There's a lot of use of Hebrew or Arabic by the teachers in the English classrooms because the weaker students are comforted by it, because that's what they're used to, because many teachers feel that's the way they can check comprehension. And I just want to put out there for you to think about in the back of your minds that by using Hebrew for only discipline, only checking comprehension of words, there's this hidden message that it's not really a language of communication. It's a language of drills, so I know it's a very touchy topic, which we could probably spend the whole evening on, and we won't. Later on at question times or write on the chat what you think about that. But I do want teachers to think about their own L1 use and their own thought of, I have to get them through unseens because of testing. Okay, can we go on? Okay, so you saw this with Crashin, that we needed to be comprehensible. I put in here my favorite Charlie Brown, because this is how I am myself on Zoom. I've told my friends, they've laughed, that you get to a point, and if the teacher is just saying to you, wah, 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 then good luck. That's what Stephen Krashen showed us at the beginning when he spoke German freely, without visual aids, without being slow, without repeating several times. Lowered effective filter that we're going to be talking about that many of you mentioned. We can move on. This is just a picture, Melissa, to the next.
Debbie.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I'm
It's
sorry.
just, there's
I
a
have to
lag
remember.
of a second.
Sorry.
Somebody, Melissa,
Yes.
send Natty the link. She's trying to get into my office hours and I'm
Sure, no problem.
sorry.
Okay,
Sure.
comprehensible input. Again, this was the crashing clip, the Professor crashing clip that I gave you to watch. And you noticed, you mentioned, he repeated several times. He spoke slower. He used visuals of showing his face, his orin. For me, it was helpful because I learned that from that clip. And I could associate it with the sound of the Hebrew word for the pine tree. So we have here a picture of scaffolding. I will tell you a tiny anecdote as quickly as I can that a teacher in a school I counsel had parents complaining because she was teaching in English. The kids were freaking out. Okay? She was observed by many, many people who came to the conclusion that it was forgivable. Why? She spoke very, very, very slowly. She stopped to check comprehension. She used visuals. She checked in writing. She let one of the kids in L1 sign. So it is possible. I know it's hard. We're moving on, Debbie. Thanks.
Okay.
So these kinds of things make your student feel worse. I was waiting for someone here to say, Professor Krashen, he's so 80s. And he did do his research, but he remains the guru, and he's a professor. We've done a lot of brain research in the 21st century, and we know a lot more about what happens in the brain, but what is still true is that when people feel threatened, their brain does not know if they're afraid because they have to stand in front of an audience or they are being chased by a lion. The brain is still dumping cortisol and adrenaline into your blood. And you learn to speak by speaking. You don't learn to use a rule by learning a rule. You don't learn to speak by reading about it. You don't learn to speak by seeing other people speak. And one of our jobs as teachers, I think Ulrich also wrote about this. Many of you wrote about their effective filter and making them feel good and making them feel comfortable. Part of our job is to let our students feel sure. It's good that I'm coming after Melissa's fostering connections. Let our students feel sure by our smile, by our tone, by our patience, by our acceptance that they are not being chased by lions. So these kinds of activities are going to increase students' anxiety, and we're all doing some of them, including myself. Randomly calling on students. I won't name names, but it appeared, and I've done it myself. This is a way you keep the class on its toes, and how would I know they're listening to me? And they better know I'm going to randomly call on them. Whoop, someone's getting chased by a lion when you're doing that. Making students speak in front of the class, also guilty as charged. Gonna stop. Someone here knows why I'm saying this. Making students speak in front of the class, I know it's important, they should learn, they should know, but making students do anything is a little bit questionable. Creating competitive situations, there's a fine line here because many of you talked about games, and games are often a good motivator, but I can tell you that I was playing a game last week where I had two or three guys kind of drop out because their team started to lose. So think about how friendly the competition is.
Wow, that's rough.
Yeah, well,
That's a rough crowd.
I have a rough crowd, I think, but okay, not really. Calling on students before they've had time to fully absorb the material. I was so happy that so many of you in the Padlet did write. Someone, I forget your name now, forgive me. I wait until there are a number of hands raised before I let someone talk. A couple of people said, I have them jot it down first, giving them time to think, okay? And not calling on them too quickly. Pairing up in group work that doesn't work well. An extrovert with an introvert, that introvert is dying inside and you don't know it. That extrovert doesn't know, what's this wet sponge you've given me? Group work where the dynamics are strained. It's good to let them, well, you know that sometimes you have sad sack out. It's good to keep your hand on the pulse, what's happening there. Enforcing extremely rigid and disciplined classrooms, I guess that's a no-brainer. And tests, if you're grading them, if they think, as much as you can say it's okay to make a mistake, if they're gonna get a bad grade for making a mistake, they're gonna be anxious. I'm ready for my next slide, Debbie, thanks. And on the other hand, to create a comfortable speaking atmosphere, you've all said this, comprehensible input, first of all. Professor Krashen reminded us, I'm saying it again and again, it has to be at their level with repetition so they understand. Activities that focus on meaningful conversation, communication, movement. You've all had Judy inspire you to do some TPR. Simon says games, music, singing, humor, jokes, lots and lots of praise. Many of you wrote it in your Padlet that you give lavish praise. Good for you. Make that cat feel like a lion, not make that child feel they're being chased by a lion. Debbie, let's move on. Okay.
It just says a lag, so.
Here we have, okay, so here we have, I saw on the Padlet that many of you know about many of these. So one of the ways to help students feel less on the spot and afraid is one of the advantages of our Zoom teaching in these Corona times is that they can record themselves. And many of you already mentioned you're using Chatterpix, you're using Flipgrid, you're using Vocaroo. You can record on Padlet. I don't remember who here revealed that to me, but I'll show it to you in a second. The first thing I want to show you is, Debbie, if you click on the
Chatterpix?
I want the greetings to read. No, not that one, not that one. People are going to watch that themselves. That takes 5 minutes. That's the amazing Rania, who will tell you how to use Chatterpix in your classroom. But I wanted to tell you a personal message that should be linked here because I should.
Where? Maybe
Link on the
picture?
sandwich. Yeah.
But the sandwich was Rania, no?
No.
Okay, yes.
There we go.
Listen, dears, I made this for you.
Did I share sound?
Watch
I
me.
might not have shared sound, so give me a second. I have to reshare with sound.
It takes a village to do a Zoom with
That's
more
for
than 100 people.
sure. Okay.
So all you brave souls who every day just go out all by yourself with 27 11th graders, you're so brave.
Okay, so here we
Thank
go.
you.
Good afternoon, good evening to the dear Reed family, teachers, coordinators. Not everything you see on the internet is true, for it cannot be attributed to me, the quote, to mask or not to mask. Yet it is not a question. Of course, we shall everyone be masked. Stay safe and well.
Okay, so your students can take with Chatterpix. Lots of you said you know it, and if you don't, we have here this you're going to get. Rainey explaining to you how to use it. It is the easiest thing in the world because if Amy can do it, it's easy. Pear Deck, Nearpod, I'm still struggling and calling Debbie. This, you download it, you put a picture, you draw a mouth, and you record, done. The disadvantage of it is you have 30 seconds to record only. So on the other hand, in Flipgrid, you can talk for up to 15 minutes. Now, I think in Flipgrid, I may have put something for them to go talk about, but I don't know if we have time to do it. And since you're sharing screen, I don't know if what do you say? You're muted, Debbie, but I'm going to read your lips because that's one of my speaking games.
Oops, I didn't know. Okay, I was also telling you that that thing was brilliant and laughing the whole time. You didn't hear me. Okay, I think probably they can take a look at these because they're a bit longer.
Right. Now, one of the things we want to do towards the end is have people, because this is going to be, hint coming up, part of your post task is to, with a partner, create something for your class where they will use one of these apps. So there's the Flipgrid where they can talk for 15 minutes and they can put all kinds of cool backgrounds on. There's Vocaroo where they can record themselves and you do not see them. So that's also helping with the effective filter. And you can record on Padlet. My original pre-task was to have you record yourselves, but then I don't know why I got cold feet about it. But if you go into Padlet, there are 3 little dots, and when you click on them, you will see
there's a video here
that
about
you can record. All of those apps have with them a video instructing how to use.
Okay, great.
So I think next slide. Okay. Then we have, for while we're in Zoom, and if we go back to school, different sites for, oh, I kind of wish I was sharing my own screen now. Okay.
You want to go back to sharing? You can. I'll unshare.
No, it's okay. In the cool sites for speaking games, so anyone you click on, look at Bamboozle. I don't know, I just don't know how much time we have.
Love Bamboozle. They're great.
So Bamboozle is amazing because it has something for everyone. You have every level here, from it is blue, it is red, to a debate, to talk for 2 minutes on this topic. So in mine, do I have at the top favorites? I wanted to show something easy. If I don't have favorites, scroll down for something easy. I want to show for
How about
June,
name
July.
the animal?
Okay, fine. Well, that's too babyish. There's one with real pictures. But so the kids will say, what is it? Go ahead, Debbie.
Okay, and there's the answer. Okay, like play. So you have teams. I love this with my very weak students. They pick the 2 teams. There can be 3 teams. They pick a number. What is it?
It's a
You
donkey.
ask, and
It's a
then you
horse.
check. It's a horse. No, sorry, Amy.
Not
that's
fair.
not a
I don't want
horse.
competition. Okay, let's go back.
Okay.
So
the
you have in
bamboozle
this
is
site, which I
amazing.
recommend, you really have games for 7 through 12 or activities. Then there's the spinner, which I think everyone knows, but I'll show you. Do we need to show it or does everyone? I'll show it because I don't know. who knows.
Just quickly.
Usually it's used for names, but since we said that randomly calling on kids is going to raise their affective filter and lower their security,
It seems
instead of
I
names, okay,
can't,
never
I
mind.
can't.
Okay, maybe because it's from your computer.
Right.
So instead of names, I simply put questions there. So when it lands, it's like, what do you like to do with your friend? What is your favorite food? Any kind of questions your class can deal with. Then there's a quiz game generator underneath that, if you could click. So here, go down. You can take one that's already existing, or you can make one. It's like Jeopardy. Okay, if you want to click on one that wouldn't be hard, go up. Those ones look hard. Do I go?
Okay, generate a
Low
summer
level.
theme.
Go on the first. A low level. Right. Oh, it's
Okay.
free to generate. Never mind.
No,
Sorry,
they like to show ads. That's why it's
Okay.
free.
Okay. But it's like Jeopardy. You have questions and answers for teams to play, and it is free. But you
Give
have
me
to.
tools for 10 points. Okay.
Amy, there's an interesting question here.
Yeah.
Of the apps that you just showed on the last 2 pages,
Right.
which ones do the pupils have to sign in
No.
or download an app?
Yes. They
Depends
have
on
to-
which.
Right. Right. Some of them, they don't have to. You have to download ChatterPix. It's free, but they do have to download the app of ChatterPix.
And it's only on a smartphone.
No, it's not. It's not. It's
It's also on your computer.
Yes.
Oh wow.
And these things like bamboozle and this, the teacher only opens it. The kids look at it and speak.
Yeah, but no, someone was asking for kids to
Yeah.
send them something. So can we go back and look at Story Dice? So Story Dice is like Story Cube, and it's a cool idea. I don't love it as much as I love Story Cube because some of the dice, scroll down a bit, Debbie. Some of the dice here are, that was it. No,
You
what,
want
it
this?
was this
This?
dice.
Where?
Go up.
Oh, here,
Go down.
start.
No, that's an ad. Go down.
Oh,
This is very hard.
I know.
Go down. Sorry.
I
sorry.
think these are the games.
No, but it should have gone into dice.
Well,
Okay, then never mind. It does exist. Right, scroll down. We can go in while we're here. We can go into, we can scroll up. Sorry, everyone. Really sorry
I'm
for the
sorry.
You can click up on speaking and take go up to speaking. If you go into speaking, you have very easy questions for young learners for the lower level classes. Okay. If you go into online games, Debbie, go up.
Okay, I'm
Sorry.
games.
Here's where I found, so some of these are good for
There's
speaking.
classroom dice.
Okay, but I don't know if it'll do something different, perhaps. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
So when you click the die, oh, no, that's just STEM classroom dice. That's not the speaking. That's not the story dice.
We're on speaking
Never
over
mind.
here.
It's
Everyone
like
will
Story
play
Cubes.
around with it.
It's like
Amy.
Story Cube. So when they roll the dice, they're going to get a fish, a pair of shoes, a clock, and they have to make a story with that. Okay?
Mhm.
And so let's go back to the slide. Likewise, say it. I'm just looking at the clock and stressing.
Okay.
Say it's from the same site so people can go and see it. Let's see what my next slide is. Okay.
Coming up.
The next slide is for low tech or no tech. If we go back to school, or if you want them to be a little bit kinesthetic during the Zoom lessons, These are things you can do that they don't need an app for. Whoever asked, they don't need to sign up. I have here 2 clips on making puppets. Some of you, Betsy, was in Once Upon a Time cluster meetings, and we talked about making puppets so that in puppet shows, that was a great way to lower their effective filter. Our modern day replacement is the Chatterpix. So there are 2 sites here for how to make puppets you can share with the kids. There's Storyboard. You want to click on that? Just where they would put the picture and what they want to say there. Okay.
And Amy, I remember years ago we used to make puppets for book reports, and then they would make sock puppets as the characters in the book, and then they would tell the story, and that would be great in a Zoom box.
That would be great in the Zoom box. So this is the dice that we couldn't roll that would give you elements for a story. This is a way to make one on your own. This is a really great thing to do. I did it once upon a time when I had a small class in the junior high. I had to make fortune tellers like this. I think they call them quackwas. And just like, you know those. So first of all, it's a kinesthetic activity. Fold it like this and put it in the corner. Some of them may know it. And then here they can also put a prince, a duck, a baby for their characters, a forest, and have their own story makers. Back to our slide. I thought storyboard template, but never mind. People can see it. You know what a template is. You put pictures and words, and then there's read my lips, which is 1 second, Debbie, but okay, I'll just talk. Read my lips is something you could really do on Zoom or in the classroom. You could show them a clip of someone talking, and I think someone wrote in the Padlet that they do this actually. I was very impressed, and I forget who you are, but I read your note. Having the camera off, but what did I say? It would be hard to say. I have to say it many times, but you know, they can be calling out what they think the person is saying from reading the lips. Yes,
People,
getting
ladies,
lost with
you
the number
will
of new
get
faces. Yes,
the all of the
I'm
slides
sorry.
are always on the site after the session.
I'm sorry. Okay, so you have low tech and ho tech, and then this is more sort of low tech here. I just put a few ideas. When you click on this, it takes you to links of speaking games. My emoji story should be both interest. It's just what it sounds like. They pick 3, 5, 7, depending on your level emojis, and tell a story why they feel that way. Would you rather? There's a link to it here. Would you rather be smart or be popular? That's tricky. Let's not ask that. Would you rather never be able to eat candy again or always have to eat pizza for dinner? I don't have a good idea now. Using pictures on Zoom, there's a good link here that gives you 12 different ideas. So I'm bombarding people, and I also want to move to high school, and you will get these sites. Okay, let's not forget, Edutopia is one of Reed's favorites, and I think most teachers. It has great ideas. So these 4 sites here are chock full of. So Edutopia, you all know, and I imagine many of you know, maybe put your hands up if you're using them. Let's Talk 7 from Siona's site. You have a huge amount, an impressive amount of both materials and ideas. That's the link, Let's Talk 7. And remember the old ask, you want to show it, Debbie, or we don't have time? You have tons of stuff here, okay? Guide to talking, promoting, and to be honest with you, even though it says for 7th grade, I would definitely use it with up to 9th grade if they're not strong. I would definitely use it with a 10th grade if they're not strong. I would use it with an 11th grade if they're 3-pointers. There's tons of stuff in Let's Talk. And then there's the older fashioned. Remember that like when did that ask come out? It's called Assessing Speaking, and we said testing will make them nervous, but if you go to guide or tasks, you will be floored at how much stuff is there. We don't need the British Council. Our own ministry makes us proud. And yet, I link to the British Council also. And I
because
think
it's also amazing.
It's amazing. And the British Council also does the very good thing of letting them first self-test and see what level they are at and giving material appropriately. Is that the right word? And the British Council is using the new curriculum, they'll, if they're an A1 or an A2 or a B1, that we're getting into the nomenclature. Right? Okay, so that's it. I say any questions, but I don't, are we going to field questions now for a bit before Zimrat?
So I think that
And hope I
I
know
think
the
that they're just
answers?
overwhelmed by
I'm
the
sorry.
amount. No, don't apologize. It's
Don't
a good thing.
apologize.
You gave us a tremendous amount of sites and ideas, but I think this is only the beginning. I think that I'm going to have to go through your whole slideshow afterwards and open things up and explore and try things out. And your counselors are always
Mhm.
available. If you look at some of these materials and you're not sure how to use them, be in touch with your counselor, because you know we might be a little bit more familiar than you are with these sites, and get them into use in your classroom. And even if you only pick up 2 or 3 items out of Amy's incredible slideshow, then that will enrich your class that much more. And save the slideshow on your computer. When you get tired of those, you come back and you pick out a few more. It's a tremendous amount of material. Amy, thank you so, so much. It was fantastic. And now we are
The
switching
challenge is
over.
getting them to communicate on Zoom, said Dominique. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to say one little word about that, even though we don't, okay, Zimrat?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I really did mean to talk about using breakout rooms, because I have found that if you give the right kind of task and you pop in, there is some chance that more of them will speak than would speak in an entire class. And yet, I understand that Dominique is not at all satisfied with that answer. Okay, we'll save it for the end. Someone else will have something wiser to say.
Now you've got some questions. What do you recommend as an alternative to calling on students randomly?
Letting them raise their hand and say that they are interested in answering you.
Okay. Sometimes they can write their name in the chat also and say, you know, and so, okay, put yourselves
we're
in
in
order
Zoom.
in the chat of how you want to speak. And so then they'll know
A
when to
lot
expect.
of people on the Padlet said that with the weaker students, they talk to them ahead of time, like, you're going to be first, or you're going to answer this question. So some kids who are really afraid, if they're prepared, they might be a little more comfortable.
Oh, here, Adva has a great idea. I let them choose which question they want to answer. So a lot of these boards in the word wall, you can put up the questions and then they can say, they can choose which one they're ready to answer. That's a nice idea.
That's a great
And
idea.
somebody else said, I warn them that they'll be called on soon. You know, I'll say,
Right.
okay, first Amy, then Debbie, and then Carol. And so then I know that Carol, who might be a little more shy, you're just there in my picture, Carol, which is why I'm picking on you. Oish. Then it gives them a little bit of a warm-up time so that they can be ready to speak.
Right, right.
Okay, that was fantastic. Thank you so, so much.
Well,
Thank you.
I wanted to know about how would you correct a student's speech? Like
Well,
say,
it depends on what the task is you're doing and what you're going for. So which students, how bad is the English? I mean, we're aiming here for, if we're looking for being comfortable, then we want to be extremely careful about correcting. We want to hope that modeling and practice are going to bring to correct enough speech that they can communicate well enough. I know there could be a problem of fossilized errors, but I think that for now in Israel, more kids have more of a problem of not daring to speak at all than speaking very incorrectly. And I would give fluency precedence over accuracy at the beginning for sure, because dare to do depends on the age and it depends on what. You know, I would be different with a 7th grade class of challenged students than I would be with 4-pointers in 12th grade about to take an exam. The older student knows they're going to be tested and that part of it will be accuracy and expects to be corrected. But what's sad is that sometimes by the time they make it to that 12th grade class, they're such a victim of the system that it's a threatening, scary, horrible thing to do. And part of the reason why it's horrible and scary is because they'll have 7 grammar errors. So if we get them talking anyway in junior high school and hope that by their hearing us repeat back or hearing correct English, those errors will not become fossilized.
Melissa, can I say something about that?
Yeah, for sure. I didn't know you
Hi,
were here.
everyone. I'm sorry I was in a meeting with the Mancal, but I'm here.
Hi,
I've been here,
Judy.
kind of. I want to say just one thing. In my 30 years of teaching and being an English person, I have actually kicked out a student once out of my class, ever. And that was for laughing at another student who was speaking and making fun of the way he spoke. Okay, it's the only thing that I've ever kicked a kid out of class for. I kept him out of class for more than a month, and he ran after me every day asking to come back, and I refused. And it was a really big thing. But I think that the first and foremost thing, and I don't know if Amy said it because I wasn't totally here, and if she did, then I apologize, but I just want to say something. The first and foremost thing you can do before you start speaking is to make it a safe place and to set the rules. Okay, I don't know, Amy, if I'm repeating something that you said, and then I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
But you have to set a safe place. You have to set the rules that anyone who even guffaws or chuckles or anything else is out. Okay, you have to show the student that they are being protected. Every one of us has a different way to speak, different tempo, different voice, different everything. And I have found in the students that I volunteer with every week that they're much more likely to speak when their camera is off. And sometimes the Zoom, this is an open door of opportunity that sometimes we can have it where their cameras are off and they're speaking, because that's something that they'll never get in a classroom. The opportunity to be kind of invisible, but speaking, okay? And we have to take that into account when we work on speaking with our students, no matter what grade they are or what level they are. There might be really pedantic girls who, if they're not perfect, they become a puddle on the floor. It's usually a girl, and they're usually really pedantic about it, and they're usually really good students.
Yeah.
And they, yes, and boys, but usually I've seen in multiple schools, it's usually the girls who go, oh my God, I didn't do that right, I have to do that again. And they have this like moment of puddleness, okay? And they become a puddle on the floor, all right? And what we need to do is we need to set a safe place. Try speaking first with the cameras off if you want. Let them feel a little bit more confidence, and then allow them to speak more, okay? And slowly but surely open up. So sometimes virtual teaching, we're going back to blended teaching. That was the meeting I was just in.
Yeah.
We're going back to see our kids. Speaking, unless they really are comfortable with each other in the classroom, like 7th grade speaking, don't do that face-to-face right now when they come back. Okay, just don't start with that. Okay, right. Get to it. Thanks.
Okay.
And I want
Thank
to
you
hear
so much,
Zimrat.
Judy.
We need to get Zimrat going.
Yeah, now Zimrat's up.
Yay!
Okay, hi everybody. Good afternoon. I'm going to focus on the COBE and on high school, but most of the ideas here you can all easily adapt to junior high or even your other high school classes. I'm going to share my screen. I'm disabled. Debbie, you want to
Okay, wait.
help me with that, or you just want to run the
I was.
presentation
Can
for us?
someone else do it?
Yeah,
Because
go
I'm
ahead.
in the middle
You
of.
try. You should be
okay.
able to do. Wait 1 second. You should be able to do it now.
No,
Oh no, it's not working. How weird.
No.
Yeah. Now try. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. All right, so this presentation I actually prepared for my 12th graders, I mean, part of it, in order to introduce the COBE to them when we started, you know, the actual practice. So the first couple of slides are focusing more on, you know, general information that they need to know and keep in mind. I wanted them to get familiar with their new BFF for the year, Alfie. I put a sample of the test since we can't go into the computers room now, so at least they can, you know, see it at home on their computers and see what it looks like.
Zimrat, is there a way of you raising the volume on your headphones? If so, then that's great, and if not, just keep going.
Okay, I'll try. Is this
Oh,
better?
perfect. Much better.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So again, I think it's, I thought it was very important to let the students know, the technical parts of the test, what is expected for them, so they know what they need to work on, what they need to focus on, in terms of the different parts, and also the grading. If we know that they only have a half an hour to complete it, they have to use their time wisely, and they have to pay attention if the video clip is 50% and as opposed to the project or the personal response. And again, if we go into the nitty-gritty of the gradings, when I answer a question, what do I need to focus on? As Amy mentioned, our students are sometimes, they feel intimidated to speak because of the grammar mistakes, but here we have only 50% on grammar, and we have more points on the vocabulary, so we need to work on that with them to develop it. And the actual topic development and extended answers is like 50%. So they need to know that, because they need to know what to focus and what they need to improve. Again, so these are just little reminders of how to do the test and what you need to keep in mind. Different ways, some of them I'm repeating some of Amy's ideas here, but different ways that
They're
they
not
can
mine.
start practicing already. Even if it's talking to yourself in the mirror or talking to a friend, you can also use that, low-tech ways of doing it. I'm going to focus now more on Flipgrid, because that was something I've been using to prepare the students. And I'm just going to give you a quick review if you haven't been using Flipgrid, or you've used it and you want to use it more. So of course we can use it for all kinds of activities, and it's a great platform for online video discussions to have with your students. And besides the speaking skill assessment that I've been using it for, you could also take it in, as having your students reflect on a lesson. And after the lesson, instead of sending them out with the Google form, they can reflect orally on the lesson. You could ask them, what was your favorite part of the lesson? What did you enjoy doing? Or if it's an exit ticket, what did you learn? What did you create this lesson? So not only from a student, not as a task that a teacher assigns, also as a feedback for us as teachers, which is really important. Just a second. And of course, the speaking skill assessment that we could use, Flipgrid provides us with the ability to actually comment on our students' work. We can give them a personal comment, and we can also
because Tom is not eating when it's too late.
And we can also customize the rubric itself. I mean, the rubric itself, you could actually put in similar criteria that we have in the rubric for the COBE. So that's another advantage. And of course, it's integrated with Google Classroom. So whoever was working with Google Classroom could, attach everything easily. It's also one place you have everything organized, and it's not those WhatsApp recordings that they keep sending you, and your phone memory is full and you can't keep track of what's going on. They know what they're doing, and you can go back and see it. So I also attached a tutorial. This is one like with lots of updates. It's a pretty recent one, so you can watch it later on your own time. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. Okay, so I'd like to present a few choice boards that I've created to practice the code with my students. Originally, when I started practicing, I would give them, I would present the question or present a video clip, and we would do it in class as an exercise. And then I felt that I, first of all, need to give my students a bit more of a choice, and also to take the responsibility of practicing on their own. I mean, we could devote time in class to do it, and I do devote almost every lesson, we do some practice, but I also felt that taking responsibility on your own progress and being able to do it as a daily task or ongoing task, we will reach better results. So this choice board, I chose like 12, topics out of the list. And what happens is it's like a Bitmoji scene, when they click on one of them, I'm going to, just click randomly on summer vacations here. Okay. It takes them straight into the Flipgrid assignment. And in the Flipgrid assignment, wait, I don't want you to see the students. I couldn't blur this, but don't look at them. I put in a video, first of all, the original video from the Bagrut examination. I could have just typed a description of the question, but I really wanted them to get the feeling of what it's like when they're going to sit there and take the COBE. So they have Alfie here. All the questions are from the, the ministry site, from the sample tests. I also included a useful, vocabulary that they could use, and asked them specifically in the instructions to go over the list, or we go over it together in class. We highlight words that we would like to use, and then we do the actual recording and the response on the video. Now, what I usually, what you usually get is a list of your students, whoever did the assignment, completed it, and the ability to give them the personal comment and feedback, and the customized rubric. So at the beginning, I did not give grades for this. I just wanted them to get going. I wanted them to feel comfortable and confident recording themselves. I have to say that I have some students who, asked if they weren't so happy and thrilled about videoing themselves. So they thought, they came up with solutions that I didn't even know that existed on Flipgrid. There's these stickers or emojis that you could just cover your face and you don't see them, or they just record their voices and put a name tag on it. They know how to work around. And some of them, when they did show their face, and a lot of them did, I took it as as an opportunity to say how I miss their beautiful face, and it's so nice to see their smiles, and it's bringing me back to the fostering connections. And we didn't open it yet for other students' comments, like responding on other people's videos. And I guess it will happen gradually as they feel more comfortable. And this is an ongoing assignment. It's a weekly thing. And they could either, start here and follow around, or they could just pick and choose what they like according to their mood or according to an experience that they had that day. And they have something to say because it's connected to something that, is on the list here. So this is one choice board where, like I said, once you click, it takes you straight into the Flipgrid assignment. Now, another choice board that we did.
Can I pause you for a second?
Yes.
There are a few questions about Flipgrid. Is there a way that you can set it so that only you see the videos and not the whole class sees them?
Yes. At the beginning, when you edit your, the topic and the assignment, there's something that's called, I think, moderate, in which the videos are not released, and only you're the first one who could release them or hide them. So there is a way to do it.
And can they, okay, thanks. And can they respond to each other on Flipgrid and see each other's responses?
Yes. That's part of the discussion is, for example, if you use it, I used it once for an opinion essay in which I presented the topic, and then we kind of had a debate on the Flipgrid platform. The students, first of all, present their opinion, and then they're able to actually respond and have some kind of discussion with their classmate by responding to other people's opinions.
Okay, there's a lot of interest in seeing sample Flipgrids, but I'm going to hold that until the end. And if there's time at the end, maybe people can stay after class and we can see some Flipgrid in use.
So I have to say that to start a Flipgrid or to create a grid or a topic, that's what it's called now. It does. I mean, it's not that it's an easy tool, but you just have to, play with it a little bit. And you could just send a link to your class, and they don't really have to. I mean, if they're using their phone, they might have to download the app itself, but it's pretty easy. You don't have, if you're putting it as a public thing, you don't have to have a code. You have to play around a little bit, but once you're there, it works very nicely.
Okay.
The second choice board that I want to share is for the video clips. So like I said at the beginning, I used to have a link from YouTube for a nice clip that I used, and we had a discussion in class, or I put them in breakout rooms and have them discuss. And then again, I felt the need of creating a choice and the need of having them take responsibility and practice and work, and also making it fun and exciting. So I bet we all want to go to the cinema and have this, great feeling of going into those halls and going into the cinema with our tickets. So it's kind of nostalgic now, but maybe Bezrat Hashem soon things are going to open up. So the way this one is built is the same idea. Here it is, like fancy schmancy tickets. This is like a choice board that I found online. I didn't design any of this besides, adding my Bitmoji. And I'm sharing this with you so you could basically take it as is, just change, of course, the Flipgrid links, and to make it a little bit more exciting, because we're in the cinema, they have to, scan the QR code, and once they scan it, they're on the assignment instead of just clicking on a picture. Endless
Wait, so
up,
hold on right there. I can scan it right from here with my phone.
Okay, go ahead.
And then
Scan
I
the
went
first
straight
one.
into a Flipgrid from here.
Exactly. So you'll get the assignment.
That's awesome.
And you can also click, of course, on the ticket itself, and it takes you to one of the assignments and the videos. So what I have here is not just the video to play. I also have, a link that takes you into the questions, so you can have them right in front of you after you're watching it. Plus, I tried to insert like all these little tips for them to pay attention to when they're recording themselves. Again, some of them take it more seriously and they actually read it and go through and try to improve. Some of them at the beginning, just spontaneously respond to something, but I keep telling them, like, these tips are for you to improve your speaking, and this is what the markers are looking at. I mean, if we're putting it like on a Bagrut perspective, right? Of course, we want them to speak and feel natural and just do it, and we're not doing this for the Bagrut. But if I'm trying to make it more professional for them and really having them see the progress, I want them to keep things in mind. For example, even sharing it with a friend. If you're happy with your results or you want to get some feedback from a friend, this is an opportunity for you to have your friend respond on the Flipgrid, or if you want to do it on a WhatsApp and just share it. And remember to speak loud and clear, slowly, fluently, to create one recording. These are things that they have to keep in mind because they're losing points if they're doing something incorrectly. So this is basically it for this choice board. If we go back to the original presentation, there's one more choice board over here, which is a very, very simple one. And again, this is something
Hold on
that I found.
1 second, Zimrat. A lot of people are asking about how to create a Flipgrid lesson, how the Flipgrid board was created. I think that we have another session where we're.
So I just want to say that this is not a Flipgrid board. It's a choice board in which I just, the links here are links to the Flipgrid activities.
Can
So
I
there's
say
nothing new in terms of a choice board. It's the same choice board.
Yeah, but I don't, I'll give you 1 second, Amy, but I'm gonna keep Zimrat on track, and she's gonna finish her presentation.
Then later.
She's introducing a lot of tools to us. You can, if you want to create one and you can't figure it out on your own, Debbie has office hours on Sundays. Or you can Tuesdays, sorry, on Tuesdays. And she can show you around there a little bit. Or you can be in touch with a counselor who can show you how to do it. We have an amazing announcement to make that Debbie now has hours to work on technology with schools, and we'll make a big announcement about that soon. So Zimrat, go ahead and keep going forwards.
All right, so I just want to add that I'm going to share this presentation on the blended course site, of course, and all of these choice boards are for you to use by pressing use template. You just have to, customize them for your own Flipgrid link, so I won't get all your students' videos on my Flipgrid and have a whole mix-up of students. This one, again, is a very simple one. It's with numbers, which you could use, the online dice for them to play and pick, and then whatever number it is, if I get to number 5, okay, so I talk about a game I played. The questions here are not for the COBE, but again, you could play around with it and put whatever you want. I think I used it for one, after a holiday as an activity in my class. And you could use the spinning wheel, with the names or numbers, and then whatever number you fall on, you can again share the information, and all of this is something that you could customize. So this is another fun speaking and choice board. Now, if we take it a step, making things a little bit more simple, I'm going back to our, our lovely word wall practices, which has endless options of creating different games. And Amy mentioned it already. And instead of putting names, this I have to say, I want to give credit to Martine from the Golan. She shared it on one of the groups, and she kindly had it shared here with us. So whoever created this, put up questions for the personal interview, for example, the personal interview. So this is something that you could do, in class for the first 10 minutes, or in breakout rooms with you walking around and taking turns playing with the students. Okay, so if we just, I'm sure you're familiar with this. And whatever question it is, you can have a few students respond to it by volunteering. You could also play with the cards, with the board game and this is like for the project. So these are very easy and cute and fun ways just to make it more exciting for the students, instead of having them write the answers and, I don't know, keep saying them again and again. Oops, I see some problem here with the spelling, but we'll take care. I don't know if we can take care of that. All right, and there's cards. And if we're taking it even one step backwards, more practice and information on COBE. First of all, the amazing site of Read All You Need. I linked it straight into the COBE section, okay, in which we have Adele, and we have a lot of practicing clips that you could use here on the side, and there's more. It's been refreshed and a lot of material has been added to it. So take advantage of it. You don't have to go look for new clips. Use what we have here for you. And of course, we also have the ministry site. A lot of formalities there, and the rubrics and things you need to pay attention to. And that's about it. That's what I have to present. And
I'm really glad you brought up the ministry site, because all of the current information and updates and rubrics and table of specifications, it's really important that you only use that from the inspectorate site, because that's where all of the changes are updated.
right,
The table of specifications has a list of the topics that your students may have questions on, and you need to make sure that you've presented all of those topics to your students and they know the relevant vocabulary.
Right, and I also have a slide here with the updated rubrics. I'm trying to see where it is. Here. Okay, the way the grading is going is it works. There's a different rubric now for 4-pointers and for 5-pointers. So if you click in, you have it all here already in front of you. You don't have to go searching for it on the COBE site for the ministry. So it's important you go through it and take all the, all this wordy chart. And that's what I said. I put it up as, reminders or short tips for my students to keep in mind when they're working on it. I guess that's about it. Melissa, you want to
My
do
gosh,
questions?
wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
Okay, so yeah, we do have time for questions. And then afterwards, after we take some questions for about 5 minutes, Zimrat, can you think about maybe one flip grid that you can show us in slow motion, so that people who want to get an idea of how to open a flip grid, put in the question and assign it to the students, you can do that, and then maybe also show them a completed page with all of the student videos put up.
The problem is that I have the pictures on. That's why I didn't open it.
The student pictures.
Yeah.
So I'll stop the recording, and we'll just we'll show it here, but then we won't share it with anybody.
Okay.